All right, we are here again, another week of the AK Roundtable. It is July 31st, 2024. Stoked to be here with you guys, and I am looking forward to this one tonight. We're going to go through some really fun things as we start moving into what we call the latter part of this season, into the month of August, and then, of course, the fall months as it starts to get a little bit cooler. We've had some amazing coaches' corners on Monday. Recently was Anthony and Stephanie, Coach Anthony and Coach Stephanie. They dropped a ton of absolute nuggets and value. So it's going to be hard to keep up with, that kind of level of presentation, man. I'm telling you, they're awesome. They did such a great job. So I'm really proud of them and appreciative and very grateful that we have such great leaders in our community to be able to pay that forward. It's really special. So Stephanie and Anthony, thank you both so very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to make that happen. But for tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to drop some more value to you guys because that's just the way that we roll. And I know that, we go through these roundtables and in trying to give as much advice as we possibly can. But in order to really give the best advice, it's, yes, we've gone through our hardships, our hurdles, our ups and downs, but hearing it from you right now as to what challenges you're facing is something really, really important, So we always start out with our wins, but going into some challenge that we might be facing. And it's like, unless we talk about it, how are we going to overcome those challenges? And I don't know about you guys, but I love solving problems, man. And when there's really big problems, it's a lot more fun to solve those with a team of people that really are there with you to battle that storm and come out the other side to move towards that brighter horizon. Does that make sense? I think so. That all makes sense? Everything I just said? All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad. All right, cool. Well, let's do this thing the way that we usually do. Let's kick this meeting off tonight with some wins. And so let's make it happen. Any wins from anyone on here? And let's dig right into that. And for those of you, by the way, that are not on video, it would be so great to have you on video because that will energize the meeting more. We'll get more out of it. Wins. Come on, let's go. I know that there are wins that have been getting shared through social and through private messaging with me. So let's come out and share it. What wins we have? Mr. Matthias, let's go.
I got one. I've been working with somebody for about 3 months, and it was amazing to see them make that step forward and get everything completed here in this last few days of July. It's probably about a couple weeks ago. He's actually on. He knows who he is. But I'm proud of everyone that takes the leap and does what they know they should for their own families, for their own futures, and takes that step forward and really does something, invest in themselves and move forward with a business that we know is amazing. So I'm just jacked to know that the people on here do that, repeat that daily, and just build that value in their companies. Just so proud of that. Thank you.
And I have a question. Is the person willing to actually come out that he's talking about right now? Are you willing to talk about it? Andrew Cook, is that you? I saw you smile, so I figured it was you, man. If you come off mute for a second, I'm interested in actually hearing something from you, honestly, and just genuinely, transparently. So you took a few months. We lost you off video.
Oh,
there you are. We got you. So for a few months, there was a period of time that you were making a decision, right?
Yep.
And so can I ask you what was like, what were the key factors in truly making a decision to move forward?
Some of the key factors, I think definitely one was I used to do some mobile detailing on the side, just kind of for the last 8 years or so. And I kind of got maxed out as to how many cars I can do in a day. So when I saw seal coating as an option, again, another seasonal business for up here where I'm at, but I realized I could do 10 driveways in a day at the same amount that I'd be charging per vehicle per driveway. So the dollar figure definitely for me was a big push into ordering the equipment and stuff like that and getting the seal coating business started. But I think it's good potential, good growth. I know you guys all know Alex Luchit from Toronto, so I've been kind of watching him, had a few conversations with him, and seeing him and his business. I mean, it's just been pretty cool to see like the growth that one could have, given the opportunities and stuff like that. So yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be part of this community.
Welcome, man. Open arms, and congratulations on your decision to move forward. I know that there's people on here who have been in the business for over a decade, and we're still here growing, right? And
Yep.
it's not stopping, still doing deals, still adjusting and pivoting and optimizing the businesses. And there's always, I know I'm looking at Stephanie Bison right now, and I'm like, you're smiling because actually, can you talk about that a little bit? Like, as you start, you're in 15th year or 16th year right now, and it's like, it doesn't stop, right? There's always growth and things to do. So can you talk about that a
There's
little bit?
always
What that's
growth.
like?
Yeah, certainly. And with every level of growth comes new learning and new things that you have to focus on. We're in one of those years this year. We just had a financial meeting this morning with our accounting team, and every month on our comparison sheet we're up. So we've kind of been on this growth cycle every year. So definitely keep going. I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, this cool mic that I have mutes me out.
I
One
can
of
see
the
it.
let me put it down. So I remember what it was like when I added my very first 30-gallon kettle to my arsenal. I remember what it was like to go from a 10-gallon melter applicator to a 30-gallon kettle, and then a 55-gallon kettle. I remember what it was like to go from a 100-gallon tank to going to a 300-gallon tank. I remember what it was like to go from a 300-gallon tank to a 700-gallon tank. I remember what it was like to not have hot asphalt on hand to be able to do any patching work. I remember what that was like. And I remember what it was like to have 3 hot boxes on the back of 3 different flatbed trucks, and having the crack sealing trailer with our seal coat rig and all of that rolling down the road. I remember what it was like through those different stages. And it was like vibration, pop. And it's like, you go through those pains and challenges to be able to go through that growth. And it's like a striper, I've got a Powerliner 850 striper, an entry-level striper. I can go stripe lines. And then all of a sudden I'm kind of stuck because I got to go stripe a 300 stall lot. And I know the striper is not going to be able to hold up. So I either have to sub the workout, or I have to kind of pinch the pennies over here to go and invest into a bigger striper to do that job. And it's like, when do you know that it's time to invest into the growth of your business? And it's an important question to ask, because it's like, if everyone had 100 grand to start out, and you could start out with all of the right equipment out of the gate, but you have no experience at all, that's a problem as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you have to find this sweet balance of crafting what you call not an equipment package, not just a coaching package, but there's this business solution that needs to be custom tailored and crafted around the budget that you have to be able to either start or to go through your next stage of growth. Like, for anyone on here who's wanting to go from residential into commercial and really attack that, because you've got some good experience under your belt with residential, if you're just going to try to figure out how to do that on your own and do it with equipment that might be substandard to doing the commercial work, and also to not have the right training to go do the commercial work, you might deal with some really big challenges that could possibly hurt your reputation, 1, but 2 is the amount of time that you're going to invest into actually completing a project of caliber is going to end up costing you a lot more time than what is needed.
Yeah, I
So
think we touched
Stephanie,
a little
that's
bit.
important.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we touched a little bit about that on Monday too. Is just sort of finding out or sort of analyzing what you're driving towards, like what your goal is. Even if you are, Andrew, just starting out, because you want to make sure that you surround yourself with the tools for that, not only just equipment, but coaching or mentorship. Anthony and I started, we've said this many times in this community, with two 55-gallon drums. And a rusty, F-350 Ford. So we didn't have the knowledge or weren't surrounded with a community like this to really know what we were doing. And we made a lot of mistakes leading up to our now 16th year. So we were able to come out of that, but it took us a long time. We had a long learning curve. So that's why we love the fact that we get to sort of pour into you guys. And guide you along the way. But yeah, definitely surrounding yourself with the right, not only knowledge, but the equipment too. Sort of kind of what you just hit on. If you're just doing residential, there's certain things that you need. If you're trying to get into commercial, you want to make sure that you arm yourself with the right stuff. So
Yeah, I remember when I was buying 40, I think they were 40 pounds at that time, 40-pound bags of cold patch to do asphalt bands, that we called them asphalt bands, up by the garage where the foundation meets the driveway.
joints,
And
that's what we call them. Yeah.
Joints. Yeah. And that concrete lip is quite high sometimes, right? Have you seen that before? Everyone raise your hand if you've seen that, right?
That's probably our number one residential repair, is cutting that asphalt out and replacing it there.
We were doing it when we first started because we didn't know any better, really. And we were using cold patch, and we knew very quickly that cold patch was not something that was going to allow us to maintain a reputation with the client that was going to be for life. It was the wrong application for the repair. And it remained soft, and we'd have to tear it out, and then we'd have to go to the hot asphalt plant where they were, to the hot mix, get some hot mix out of extras that paving companies were coming. Man, can we get some asphalt? And we'd throw them in metal 5-gallon pails and get some hot asphalt, throw them in the back of the trailer, and we go to the job and dump the pails out as quickly as we can. We'd have to take a torch and heat up that asphalt because it was getting cool, and we had to rework it, and we'd rework it, and finally that hot asphalt was a better patch than the cold patch. And it was like, all right, well, we've got a hot patch that's a surface patch right here. And we just charged $225 to do that, plus the seal coat of the driveway for 600 square feet. We're now at $500, and we've got a $500 job under our belt. And I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to get hot asphalt than this, and to keep it hot all day long, rather than these 5-gallon metal pails that I'm having to kind of leech off of these other paving companies. And when I finally realized that I could actually get 2 tons of, generally a lot of asphalt plants, just to be clear, they have a minimum batch. And so like 2 tons was what we were able to get. They wouldn't do less than a 2-ton batch for us. So we had to have a 2-ton hot box. And we would fill this hot box up with hot asphalt, and we would get approximately 12 to 14 wheelbarrows out of that 2 tons. And man, we would go out and make $5,000 a hot box. And it's like, just that one thing that we added to our company now provided us with the ability to do asphalt repair, we did cut and replace. We did surface patches, we did bands, or where we have what do you call it, Stephanie? Is that
joint sealing? A
joint sealing.
Yeah.
But we now had there was some catch basin, not the repair inside, but surface repair to prevent liabilities. But we now had an offering that was just a cash cow for our business. And we became a full service asphalt maintenance and repair company, which at that time, it became very apparent that if I was hunting for the pain points on these commercial lots, residential driveways were great, but the commercial lots became something that opened up a whole new portal for us to then go after, those pain points, to solve those, and then to upsell on the other services that we were providing. And you know, a lot of companies that we know that are starting out or even in business for a year, they sub out a lot of their striping, or they just don't even offer it because they don't have the striping solution at all. They don't have any performance partners and they don't have a striping machine. So then they go after residential that doesn't need any line striping or pavement markings. And so you're held back on that growth. So the question really comes down to, you know, in your business where you know, a lot of the time from an asphalt maintenance and repair side of things, if we think of seal coating, there's this point where you start to see a photo of somebody on a paver next. It's like, I want to start to pave projects now. And it's like, I want to go from a $2 million company or $3 million or $4 million company in the asphalt maintenance and repair niche to in a geographical area to now I want to be a $5 or $7 million company and I'm adding a whole paving division to my business. And it's like, what if you don't want to do that? Maybe you don't want to do that and you want to stay in the maintenance and repair because you're loving it so much. So the only way to grow would be to maybe spread yourself out more geographically with additional offices or partners. And it's like these kind of things I think are important. I think they're important to talk about because if you really desire to grow, you should have maybe some things that you're going to be faced with those high vibrations to then pop and grow into that next stage. And by the way, Anthony Bison right now is shirtless. You know, he's in his truck. He's had a great day out in the field. He's rocking it. He's on the way home to see you, Stephanie. Look at those pipes, man. Cool. Who's on here right now that I know there's a lot of people that are not on video. I don't know. What's going on, everyone? You're not on video. You've got like 6 people, 5 people who are not on video right now. Drew, let's go, man. Get on here. Jack, John, Jose, Ryan, let's get you on camera. Let's go. What's the next steps, guys? What's the next steps? What's your next stage of growth? Let's do this thing, man. John, what's up, brother?
How are you?
I'm good. We've
In
got
terms of
multiple Johns. I love that.
That next stage of growth to pivot into commercial and grow commercially, the best to hook up with these national pavement contractors and use their connections, or to market yourself with SEO and whatnot? Or do you need both?
Anyone want to answer that? Come on.
I didn't hear. Was that a question?
Yeah, to grow in the commercial space, what's the
Oh,
best?
well,
Is it
what's
looking
the
at
best?
national paving companies who have these larger accounts, doing your own SEO, spend the money there? And one marketer I spoke to said nobody goes, SEO doesn't work for commercial. No one's going to look at your website.
I'll touch on that for a second, but I would love it if someone else jumped in. We are doing both this year, and we have gotten more in from the national pavement or paving companies for sure than our SEO return.
Right. And which ones are you using, if you don't mind saying?
John, on the SEO side, you're saying what companies are being
No,
used for
which
SEO?
national paving companies are you seeing?
I
good
think
results?
I think
Or does
I'm
it?
trying to understand what you're asking here. Are you asking, are there national paving companies that will do work for you for paving?
Well,
that you
to
sell?
get leads, no, them sending you leads, right? As a subcontractor, which are the better ones? I mean, there's a bunch of them that market that they can get you leads when you sign up with them. So who are the better ones? That makes sense.
Yeah, you're looking for leads. You want warm, qualified leads that are almost put right on your schedule, right? That's what you're looking
Correct.
for.
Yes.
Who here wants warm qualified leads? They're going to just pop on your schedule. Who wants that? Everyone want that on here? Sounds like the,
Yeah.
sounds like a nice and smooth and easy way of just getting rich here, right? Doesn't that sound really simple? All right. Who here has
I
experienced
got a
in your
couple leads from
lifetime?
Asphalt Kingdom.
Awesome. Who's that, Suggs? Hey, what's up, Suggs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, look, I'm gonna be real with everyone on here right now, and I know that some of you are gonna smile at this. John, are you ready for this? You're ready
Ready.
for it, right? All right,
Ready.
cool. Raise your hand if you have been able to stack your calendars with a company that's just going to drive you warm targeted leads that are going to convert very easily, and that's going to be the way that you drive your business. Like that has driven your business. Raise your hand if you've done that. Okay, nobody has raised their hand. So John, it's a hard question to answer. And I'll tell you what, the majority of people that ask that question, and I'm going to call you out on it straight out, are the people that stop hunting and following up with the people that they're hunting with. And so when you have a prospect list and that you're aggressively approaching that prospect list and you're going after it, and you don't just shake the first hand of somebody who might not be the decision maker, but you're willing to go the extra mile to go past the gatekeeper and use the tactics that we have trained and taught, and you actually keep that 12 to 14 step follow-up process, you'll have more jobs than you know what to do with if you stay consistent on that and fill the crap out of your deal pipeline. If you're writing 4 quotes a day that go into your pipeline times 5 days a week, that's 20 total quotes that you're putting out every single week. Is that right? 20 quotes out times 4 is what? That's 80 quotes a month, correct?
Correct.
At a 25% conversion rate, that means you should close 20 of those deals, correct?
Correct.
So 20 deals at $5,000 each is what? 100 grand for the month?
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you're going to go and get those warm leads that you're thinking about. You have to go hunt them, brother. I hear a lot of people out here right now, like I'm just telling you, like through phone calls and everything, I'm hearing like people talking to me. I had a guy ask me today, he goes, I really, really want to be successful with my business, but I don't know how. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't know how? He goes, I don't know how to actually get the business, the work. Like, how am I going to get the jobs? I'm like, what do you mean? How are you going to get the jobs? I'm like, if I gave you excuse the way I say this, if I gave you a bow and arrow right now, and you had the opportunity to go out there and hunt for something to be able to feed you and your family, what would you need to do when I give you the bow and arrow?
Go and hunt.
You have to. And if you don't do it tactically, then what happens is you're not going to feed your family. And so you have to practice what it is that you've been taught to be able to go out there and do. And so I'm just being really, really, this is not going to ever get silver plattered for anyone on here, just to be clear. Like, it's not silver plattered. If you don't hunt relentlessly, you will not be able to be super successful with your business. That's what it comes down to. Unless, by the way, unless anyone has a super secret sauce that they've been able to find that just pours business in on your calendars and that works.
It's all right. So just to rephrase, to get to the bigger commercial accounts, it's better to try knocking and going yourself or hooking up with a national contractor who already has that relationship.
I think that you want to do all of the above. All of the above, man. But I'm not going to rely on that national contractor to feed my family, because I might get real skinny with my family.
I can
And
back
Johnny-
that up because this is actually my first time ever doing something like this. I'm an actual paint contractor, commercial and residential. We do demo and we're in drywall as well. And the way that I've gotten into commercial is sometimes you could go literally to any like commercial job going on that's like a new build or remodel of a restaurant or of a bar, and just drop off your card and be like, could I speak with a superintendent? That is the only way that I know that's door to door. But even then, some of these companies aren't even based out of your state, so you can't really rely on always getting through with the commercial owners because they have so many lines between them and you. But that's the way that I've gotten about it, and then just recommendations. But it is a hard way to get into it with just one contractor, because that's my problem right now. And what Mr. Judd just said is, yeah, we got into it, and over a year of working with him, we decided to part ways. But by him giving me so much volume, I left so many people to the side, where now we're back picking the pieces up because we tied to one buggy, and they cut off, and then you just got nowhere to roll. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and that could be like a personal kind of like quote of what could happen if you tie off to somebody.
I'd like to express something to some. I'm going to tell you about a really important lesson that we've experienced at Asphalt Kingdom in the last quarter. I'm going to share it with you guys. Do you think that Google is important to our company, to Asphalt Kingdom? Do you believe that Google's important to your companies as well as your building, right? Do you guys believe that for Asphalt Kingdom that it's important that we get organic traffic into our business in order to generate leads and then convert those leads into sales and then create repeat business? Of course. All right, cool. Google has had these core updates going on from an SEO standpoint, from an algorithm standpoint, really heavy since March. On some of our key revenue driving pages, we've lost 41% traffic since March, which has massively impacted the company's revenue, the success of AK. And I'm telling you this because of a lesson. We're going to navigate it. We're going to come out of the storm 100%. That sunset or sunrise, whatever you want to call that, behind the AK's team right here, like we are driving hard to come out of it. But I'm giving you this lesson because this is a really important lesson. Never be at the mercy of the billion-dollar or large companies. Never be at the mercy of them, because they can shut off the tap tomorrow and you will be stuck trying to figure out how to feed your family. And so what I will tell you is this: the lesson that we've received with Google now is making us optimize our business so we no longer rely on the man. We're going to build our own external arteries of leads that we're going to be able to generate. We're going to have our prospect list. We're going to start to modify and morph Asphalt Kingdom into a business that's going to be able to not be at the mercy of Amazon and Google and eBay and these kind of things. It's not happening anymore. So John and anyone else that's on here, I have no problem with the national contractors that are out there. I have no problem with it. But please, please, please do not rely on them as the way to feed your families. You have to build your outbound campaigns. You have to keep rigor around doing your pavement assessments and your deal pipeline, moving your proposals into proposal stage, making sure you're following up multiple times to close the deal. It's such an important thing. Otherwise, all of a sudden they're like, man, I don't feel like sending you business anymore, and it's shut off. And I know that there's people on the roundtable here, and I know there's people in the community that 100% have experienced exactly this, where one day they're making a great paycheck to the next day they're not making a thing.
Yep.
Thank you. And one other unrelated question. A contract I sent out, I thought I had the highest level contact. I found out they're not the highest. I have the next level. How do I go about sending it to the higher level without insulting that person who was my contact?
I wouldn't let them be your champion. You've already in communication. Let them be your champion to move it up the ladder. Be transparent.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing sneaky about it. Yeah. Any advice around that? Anyone?
Yeah, I just went through some training on Sales Gravy about making sure that you are the preferred contractor and making sure that you understand that the person you're talking to is or is leading you to the decision maker. If you say, hey, are you the decision maker? They're always going to say, yeah, for sure. Now, if you go through questions, if you make specific questions around what is your decision-making process when bringing or onboarding new vendors, what does that look like? what kind of documents am I required to fill out? What ask questions that probe at their procedures when it comes to onboarding new vendors. Because if they don't know the answer to that, you're not talking to the right person. They're going to basically unveil that. And then ask, is there more people involved in this decision making that I should be talking to or providing you information for, so we can get on maybe a call, so we can just have this all out, so they can ask questions properly and we can provide the right service. Because if you don't ask those questions, you're going to get somebody saying, yeah, for sure. And then at the end, when you go to close it, they're like, oh yeah, I'll have to get back to you. I'll talk to my boss. And suddenly you're out the door. But if you do really good discovery at the beginning, discuss the actual things that they're looking to do. Are you the owner / are you making, do you have the investment that you're looking at doing, or do you need help with this? I mean, I'm just talking about the things I talk about, but you're going to ask questions that are very specific about what their procedures are when it comes to onboarding a new vendor, because it's key. And if they don't know that, you're not talking to the right person.
Because sometimes the people who answer it could be like a estimator, right? Is that correct? Or they could just be like a sales agent that just takes down names and could forget it. Okay.
Or somebody writing POs. Like when I used to work with municipal mines and so on, I would be talking to purchasers, but they weren't the ones that actually made a decision on what it was they were buying. It was the engineers and the people in the background making these decisions. So I realized I had to make my connections to engineers on site, be with those people, talk about their issues and their problems, because the only thing that purchaser could do was write the thing, the PO that guy wanted. And the fact is, half the time they didn't even know what they were asking for. So it was kind of a redundant conversation. So make sure you're talking to the right people, because the questions you ask will make sense to that person. You'll get good feedback. If you're getting kind of a dead meh, you're probably not talking to the right person.
Just to back up, back to the SEO side of things, totally backwards, we're rewinding. One important thing is that Google's tremendously penalizing for any kind of chat GPT, any AI stuff. Like if you're creating content that's not really designed to give an incredible customer experience and it's actually unique content, if you're not doing that, just know that you're going to get caught. Google has put up major blockers. So the spiders go out, they go and do the spidering in the site. And as soon as they see that you have any kind of non-human content, they're immediately going to penalize you, and it can shut your traffic off right away. So just be very cautious with that. Use Chat GPT for some of your marketing, perhaps, right? Some of your social media posts and those kind of things, or maybe even a script that you might read on a video through Captions app or something that you might use off of your phone. But the point is be careful with the AI Chat GPT stuff. All right, guys, be careful. Billy Ammons.
Afternoon. So I got a situation to just a lot of us probably come into contact with the decision maker. Just say, Judd, you're the customer, the end customer that I'm going to provide service for. I give you an X proposal with the X number, just say $1, and you refer me to your general contractor that's kind of has multiple projects lined up for you. The general contractor reaches out to you, asks for the proposal that the customer you already sent them, and then basically negotiates down, just the back and forth. And then you give him the new number. Is now the communication between you and the general contractor, or should you relay information? Like, what's the most professional route when you're introduced to the general contractor via the customer? And two, if you have a general contractor that's away, just out of state, and you're doing local business, do you represent yourself or the company that the general contractor that is hired to do the job?
Skylar, did you catch all those questions, those two questions right there?
Yes, sir. Except for the static in the background.
We can hear you loud and clear, but I'm thinking, I know that you deal with, I believe you deal with general contractors through some of the commercial properties that you're working with, right?
Yeah, no, we deal with a lot of general contractors. So the general contractor is going to take over the point of contact moving forward. So he's going to be the one responsible for that project. So it's not that you need to relay it back to the property owner. That's why that GC, because I can tell you he's probably adding anywhere between 10 to 30% on top of your price typically as a management fee for being a general contractor. So that's what they get paid to do. They get paid to communicate with you and deal with all your shit, right? Like that's really why a GC steps in, because the owner doesn't want to take the time to deal with 50 contractors, right? Like they're running projects. They probably got electricians, they got carpenters, they got drywallers, they got everybody they're dealing with. And the GC is just an experienced guy that knows how to run a project and keep the project flowing. So yeah, that's the GC's job. So you don't need to speak to the owner anymore. You just speak to the GC. You report to him. You report to him for scheduling. Typically, any hiccups, any problems, you're going to him. That's the guy. That's the man of point of contact.
But that also means that any of the crap that happens flows up to the GC. That means they take on the liability. Anything that that you did, if you didn't vet your subs right or your performance partners right, and they don't have the insurance, now your insurance covers that. So everything flows up to you.
Yeah, same thing, kind of like we speak about performance partners, right? Like that's the performance partner model, right? GCs just strictly run on that performance partner model where they're finding a bunch of guys like you in all facets and stubbing it out and doing that thing. So it's just a more official, larger scale, right? Instead of just one scope where we have performance partners in our realm, they're doing it over, entirety of a project.
Okay, that I appreciate that, Skylar. That answers that question. But is it kosher to leave like Anthony and them? They'll leave yard signs where they have seal coated. Can you still leave where you've done services, or since you didn't generate that lead, you don't represent yourself at that property, right?
Nah, 1,000%. Leave the yard sign. We do it all the time. I'm sure Anthony probably does it as well at a GC site. You leave the sign, you're representing yourself. You laid the work right there, right? Like they're not advertising I'm an asphalt company. They don't care, right? Like you got to realize, like same thing when I have this conversation with my sales guys a lot, right? Where they're like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? I'm like, look, you don't realize they don't care. This whole project is $10 million. So for the $10,000 parking lot, they don't, it's irrelevant to them. You know what I mean? It's just get it done. Make sure it looks right.
That makes sense. I appreciate you, Skylar, as always.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, Fuentes, let's go.
Yeah, I can back on that I've heard from my actual GC. He gave me this biggest tip was, if you can stay out of my hair the most, you'll be my favorite. Like if I don't have to listen to you that either bitch or complain, or you just come to me and say, hey, I have this problem, this is how I fix it, I need this much. He's like, the least amount of words you and I exchange is best for me, because then I'll realize that I don't need to babysit you, and I'll contact you every time and be like, this guy gets everything done and I don't even have to speak with him. We're not here to make friends. They just want us to just get in, do our shit, and leave. But
good quality shit. Good quality work, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
That's a great point too, man. Like, and I think if there's one thing to add on to that, this is where pricing doesn't become a problem anymore. I know a lot of people still struggle with this. It does at certain points, but you'll be able to start really creeping up pricing on a lot of projects where it's like, again, what makes sense for you and your business, but where when you get in with a GC like that and you deliver on a project 2, 3, all of a sudden they're calling you and they're like, hey, look, we don't want to put this out to bid. We don't want to deal with the gypsy that shows up and calls us 100 times and we don't know what to do. Just please get this project done, because they know you're going to leave them alone. And again, it comes back to that same statement I made, whether it's 10 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, whatever. In a large project, it's nothing. They just want it done and they don't want you in their hair. So that's how you build great relationships.
And if
Yeah,
I could put a plug in on something too, when you're going out and doing these jobs, when I'm putting quotes together now, I'm asking a lot of questions up front. That way, like if we're doing we primarily do striping. The way we stand out versus some of our competitors is we'll actually ask all the questions about the wheel stops, the bollards, the signs, any of those things that we can do on site, we ask all those questions. And a lot of our competition is not asking, you know, they want to quote to restripe the parking lot, but when any potholes in the parking lot you want us to address, we ask all the questions. That's kind of how we'll stand out versus anybody else. If they're actually getting bids, they tell us they're getting 3 to 4, but usually we're the ones answering the phone and the only ones submitting a bid. And we really stand out if that helps anybody.
That's such an important piece as well. That especially like that last part that you just said, answering the phone and actually following through with the things that you said and over, you know, and surpassing the expectations that have been set, right? It's like literally over deliver on the expectation that was set, and it's immediately a credit in your favor. And I think that a lot of people end up promising the world right out of the gate from a sales standpoint, and then they don't follow through with what they've, or over deliver on the expectation, and then that loses credibility because they now, do you get what I mean? Does that make any sense? Like communicate well and effectively, don't promise the world, but then over deliver and give them the world. And all of a sudden you have a client that's like, wow, man, they, you know, that's creating a remarkable experience. You know what I mean? It's great, John. I couldn't agree more, man. Love that. Cool. What other questions and feel free to type them in the chat, anyone, if you want to at any point. Jose, you have another question?
Well, I spoke with Mr. Rob yesterday from your team, and he invited me on here because I'm trying to move into this painting stripe side of business because I'm a painter. And yeah, I don't know why I never really took to it and to look at it. And recently I started working with a maintenance company, and we installed some bollards in the past weeks, and then we started doing some small striping and maybe just the spraying, no parking and stuff. And yeah, I just started looking into it because I want to find a piece of this company that I can scale. Like right now, when we're doing commercial, I'm paying a lot for estimates because I have an estimator that's helping me out, and then it takes me a lot just to do them, which I should be doing, but we've just been knocking him out. The only thing is that I'm coming out of Atlanta, and it's just very right now. It's just very saturated with painting companies and even remodeling companies in the residential. And we've just been trying at it. We've been doing good. Just right now, we went through a dry spell, and it's kind of been like really, really like not making us kind of anxious, but maybe, you know, it's time for us to try something new. And I think that this type of business, the way that I've been looking at it now, I have a sales background, and I feel like finally I found something that I can probably sell easy. Like just talking to property owners, property managers, I can easily go and knock out like 10 estimates because the way that I've been looking at how to do it the past week, this is what I've been doing on my off time, is just learning all of this. I feel like I can do that compared to like quoting a house that has 11 rooms, 4 colors. They want to do maybe interior, and could I maybe get an exterior quote where you're just wasting time because you basically feel like they're not going to do the exterior quote. And yeah, and in a commercial, we're fighting against like 40 other painting companies just for one job. And if they outbid us because, you know, maybe they pay their guys less, or they just got in and maybe they don't have the right insurance and they're not paying those quotes. That's really what's been going on recently. I feel like that way I just kind of go around them and just find a different way that nobody's paying attention to stuff like this.
So the cool thing is you're already selling, like you're selling yourself on this right now, right? And you're selling
I sold
everybody
myself on it
else's.
and my partner. So I think that's pretty good because he's
Like,
very hard.
when are you starting, man?
I'm already trying to paint. I have 2 parking lots of my hometown that I reached out, and they're willing to just let me paint for free, so I can start getting pictures out.
Do you have a striper?
I'm gonna either rent one or I'll find a way to get it. And I actually have sprayers, so I'm already gonna go and start trying at least to do the handicap, the squares, the arrows at my parents' house. We just laid some asphalt, and I'm just gonna either do that and then just spray the shit out of their asphalt.
Do you have the money to buy a striper?
Basically, but I can already just get one from somebody that's not really using it. So I'm probably gonna start there, and then probably I've been looking at the 850.
Go straight to the 3,500 if you can, man.
That's the thing that they're giving me a Graco one, like they're trying to sell me on. It's a friend of mine, and he's talking to his partner about just letting it go because they haven't used it in months. So I'm I'm trying to see what's gonna be the first one to come up.
I
What
can
part of the
hear you
country are you in?
I mean, I'm coming out of Atlanta.
All right. Let me know when you get
Why,
those
you're-
parking lots. Let me know when you get those parking lots set up, man. I'm feeling very giving in this moment. So make sure you hit me up. I got a surprise for you.
Oh shit, I bet. I wanted to see, do you guys think it's smart for me to go to a local park, like to the county, and ask if I can stripe their park? You think they would be up for it, or you think that's too much? Like they wouldn't really do it if I do it for free.
It won't hurt to ask, man. It never hurts to
Yeah.
ask.
Let me.
I think right
let me-
now, luckily, I'm
let-
able to just buy some gallons of paint, and it's not gonna hurt me too much. And I already have my Sherwin-Williams distributor and all of that. I just kind of don't see a really loss right now, just to at least try for like 6 months, giving it.
You ever heard of?
your all.
You ever heard of Pay It Forward? Pay It Forward.
Yeah.
Find a church.
Right. That's true.
Then you have a smartphone, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to do that project. You'll be able to take a bunch of photos for marketing. You'll be able to create a cool video on site talking about your services, and you'll be able to build your business right from that job.
I'm
right?
actually a content creator. I have a podcast and everything. So I already have, and I'm a photographer on the side too. So that's why
let's
I
roll,
don't see
man.
a
Hey,
lot.
listen,
Yeah.
we want to hear next week on the roundtable. Well, you got to share your screen and show us the contract that's been signed. Let's go.
I'm trying.
It's go
I'm
time,
trying.
brother. Let's go.
Yeah.
Drumbeat.
Either that or probably just the
Congrats.
parking lot I stripe.
Let's go. Let's go. Robert, you're going to have to close Jose at some point on something, man. You're going to have to. You're gonna have to close.
We're on the
something.
calendar for tomorrow to talk.
Let's talk. Let's talk business. Let's get you there, man. It's all about working together to achieve success, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose, if I give you a little bit of advice, you're in Atlanta, your time is valuable. Man, call somebody in the next city over and say, hey, look, I want to get into striping. I don't want to be in your market. I've got my own customers, my own market to work in, but just get out and get your hands on the machines and you'll see the difference and actually put your hands on it and start striping with them instead of going out in your market doing it for free. I know some guys here that have done it and it almost devalues what you're bringing to the table, because when you do come in and start saying, hey, I'm going to start striping, can I do it for free? They're going to know you're new at it. You don't really know what you're doing. But that would just be what I would do. I've done it with a couple of guys. They call me, say, hey, I'm over in Tyler, Longview, a couple hours away or an hour away, and they'll come over and they'll run a machine with me. They'll get the hang of it, kind of get an idea of it, and then that would really help launch you into it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I have this one guy who's willing to jump with me on my team, and he wants to learn. And he's asked me to jump on the projects now. I just don't. He's still kind of young, but on this, I'm like, I know he could easily learn. And then if we both learn it, I would already have somebody that could take care of a managing spot for me if he really pulls through. But
we definitely discourage people from doing free work, so that would be advisable to try to at least figure out some sort of a value exchange.
the value exchange for me would probably be just like, one of them is a gym, and I know the owner because I work out there, and then he's from the same hometown, Mableton, that I am. And the only thing that I was gonna do with him is I was only gonna stripe his part of the parking lot and have the owner once call me and be like, hey, what the fuck? Like, why'd you only do that part? And I'll be like, hey, like I did that. He paid me this much. I can just fake it. He doesn't care. And I'll be like, but I could do the rest. He just wanted his spot to look good because you're not taking care of your that parking lot is horrible. So I'll just tell him like he's tired of his customers not knowing how to park. So he just went ahead and invested for you. I can get the rest for you out of the way.
So Jose, I want to see that contract next week, bro.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be pretty good. It
Let's
should
do
move
it, man.
faster than I think.
Let's go. Let's go. Bring a couple signed contracts next week. I want to see those thumbs up. I want to see that go, man. Drumbeat. Let's go. Cool.
I got you.
Congrats, man. Let's do this thing. Robert, if you can give Jose, if you can give him the AK, make it a biz pack that we have as well. Just give him that. All right.
Will do.
Let's get him set up. Thank you, brother.
Oh,
Cool.
appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions, guys? We're down to like kind of the top of the hour here. Any other questions? It is August 1st tomorrow. I'm assuming that everybody has their August goals that are set on the target. Is that, you guys have your goals set? Raise your hand if you've got your August goals set and pinned.
Mine's
Okay.
just good to get a contract.
Let's make sure that we are setting some kind of a goal for ourselves, right? Whatever that might be. And I would strongly urge you to do that in a variety of ways, not just business, right? Like this comes down to personal development. What's your goal? How many times a week are you going to the gym? How many times a week are you waking up bright and early? How many times a week you taking a cold shower? I don't know, but do something that's going to allow you to become more superhuman, man. It's good to push yourself and become better at what it is that you're doing. Also making sure that you're paying it forward and very, very giving to people is important in today's world all the time. And the history of planet Earth, I think giving is a really important thing. And a lot of us are always looking to grow and consume and all of those things. But I think that's an important thing today more than ever, is just sharing that love, man. Okay, on a different topic right now relating to your goals that you're going to set for your business financially, I would like to ask you all if you have seen the goal and target setting inside of AK Dash. Raise your hand if you've seen that. Goals and target setting. Okay. For those of you that don't have goals set, or those of you that do, you may want to understand a little bit more about the revenue roadmap to achieve that goal. How many quotes do you need to send out, at what conversion rate, at what gross profit, to be able to ultimately achieve the goal? Because, having an idea of where you want to be without any kind of real solid goal and an understanding of what that path looks like, then means that you're going to kind of end up somewhere. It's just not going to be as close. So if you want to understand more about the goals and target settings inside AK Dash, Dylan Malone is going to be hosting a goal and target setting session inside of AK Dash. It's completely free. And you can see inside of AK Dash and how to actually set that up inside of the system. And that will provide you with the insights on essentially achieving your financial goals for your business. It's a starting point. There's a lot more to it. Skylar's grinning on the sideline. I can see him. He's like, yeah, he wants to talk about all the details and depths of everything to do with that. But you get my drift here, right? We've got to have some kind of understanding of where we want to be, and then what we need to do to get there. So if you want to be on that meeting, Dylan Malone, his email is super easy. It's Dylan, D-Y-L-A-N, Dylan at asphaltkingdom.com. He's going to drop it in the chat as well, but it's a great opportunity for you to see under the hood a little bit more. And again, there's no cost to it. Just showing you around. All right. Any other questions that anyone has? Scott, you got something in your back pocket over there?
Nah, I keep my wallet in my front pocket, brother.
Well, that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. I'm glad.
I don't want to throw my spine out away.
You know what I'm throw. That's awesome, dude. What the heck, man? I'm talking to Skylar 2 days ago, talking about something, and then this morning I'm like, that's a cool picture. There's a paver with Don Manzo on it. I'm like, ah. You know what's interesting? Who makes that paver? What's the brand of that paver?
Gilcrest.
And do you want to know something that Robert Puckett, Mr. Puckett, who you know, he was one of the original guys who he worked with that company and worked with, I think his name was Terry, the original founder. I could be messing that name up, but anyway, he worked, what was it, Matthias? What did he say? How many years ago was that? Was that
40 years? He said 35, 40 years ago.
40 years ago. They used to make those pavers, bro, like when that company first kicked off. Isn't that cool?
Wow. Yeah.
And he knew, he knew it was it too. He's like, on the morning jam today on AK, he was like, man, I saw that paper. I knew exactly what it was from the moment I saw the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little
So
bit of a
what's up with that?
dinosaur, but it's a little bit of a dinosaur, but she'll get the job done.
So is that going to help you extend your season, or what's the true reason here? What's going on?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, really, that's it for us. We're running full capacity pretty much like in season. And it's, we're 5 months roughly here in Pennsylvania, and the plants are open like 10 months here on the asphalt side. So like basically being able to double our revenue window is a huge thing for us. And then again, right, just being more efficient. We started the just, ton here, pothole here type of way, right? And then it was okay, now it's 3 ton, that's 6 ton, and now 10-ton patches have been pretty consistent. And it's like, man, raking 10-ton, it kind of sucks. Let's just start cutting them square and pulling them with a paver. So yeah, I mean that's it. We've found a power partner in the trucking side of things, so I don't need to own any triaxles and do that. I have someone to run triaxles all day for me, do all the excavations. I don't need to go buy excavators and dozers and all that crap. Like, he'll have the jobs prepped and he'll run the trucks for me. We just plop the paper and do what we're good and go back home and start over again. So yeah, it's our little project right now. It's just going to be big on the seasonality part, right? Like, especially
Congrats.
in the growth phase we're in, man.
Congrats, man. That is awesome. That is awesome. Jose, you have your hand up, brother. You're muted.
Keep forgetting that I have to press the button. But I did want to ask, for striping, is it the same thing with like painting on like on any other material in the cold? You can't really work, or is it still strong enough paint for you to work even if it's cold outside?
Go to solvent, bro. Switch
The
to
solvent,
solvent.
right?
If there's not snow on the ground, lay it down.
It doesn't matter.
But
Solvent.
yeah, I mean, of course, look at manufacturer specs. I don't know what the actual.
Go solvent, Jose. Go solvent. You'll
Yeah.
be good. You're in Atlanta. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Yeah, look at the manufacturer specs, but I mean, really, solvent. Like, there's not snow on the ground, dude. You're painting.
Nice. Okay.
0 degrees, I believe, is what the spec
Yeah.
is. That I think Judd was saying.
Yeah. So as long as it's not 0 degrees, you're good, dude.
All right, but yeah, because we've even tried to do like restaurants on stucco, and it's horrible because it's not good.
Nah.
So
Yeah.
And it's a great question. It's a really, really great question. And
yeah, because if I now I'm thinking, if I can continue the sales, then we probably won't have a slow season, which our slow season is in the winter because just of that reason. I have one more question. Do you guys think it would be smart to just keep calling all like the sealing companies, even though they might already do their striping? Do a lot
Good
of
point,
people
Billy.
do their own striping or no?
It depends on the company. And it depends on the season, right? It's the same thing like we talk about with the follow-up process. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, do you do all your striping? I would have said, yeah. If you would have asked me last year, do you do all your striping? No, I subbed $100,000 of striping out. If you ask me this year, do you do all your striping? Yeah. It really, really is depending what the owner's needs are at the time, depending logistically where they're at. I get calls semi-frequently of guys that want to stripe, and I'm like, hey man, sorry, the opportunity is just not right there. But again, if you would have called me last year, I probably would have had significant work. But yeah, so it's, of course, sealing companies are definitely a niche, but you got to remember too, we talk about getting skinny with the cutoff. I'm going to be real with you. Most guys in our realm can't sell projects profitable enough to make you money. So that's the real problem, right? They're going to go out and sell shit for $350 and you're like, bro, I don't even want to get out of bed. But when you can control your own sales, it starts to make sense. And you can't think about minimums. A lot of people want to go out and be like, oh, it's 10 lines, I can only charge $200. No, depends what your half day rate is, right? You're gonna wrap 4 hours into that by the time you set up your machine, by the time you drive 20, 30 minutes to the project, by the time you get set up, by the time you start laying stripes, by the time you clean up, by the time you drive back to your shop. You got to start setting, good minimums on smaller projects and know how to price. But like, if you're getting out of bed for less than, I don't know, it's going to be really hard. We don't hook the truck. Let me put it in perspective. We don't hook our truck and trailer up for less than $1,250.
Yeah, I heard a
care if one
trucking
stall.
guy. He said he's not getting out. He's not pulling out the machine on 500, and they're in Louisiana. So I'm like, they're kind of close to our market. So I was thinking close to the same thing. Like, I know what my guys need and what I need. That I think that makes a lot of sense. Like,
But you need to
learn when to say
understand.
no.
But you also need to understand your numbers, the depth of your numbers, in order to truly understand if it's 500 or if it's 700 or it's 1,000 or you need to understand those numbers. And that's one of the things, like with our coaches, like Skylar coaches on this stuff, right? And so like when you get linked up to actually do that, that's the kind of investments that you make into the coaching opportunities with you. It just fast tracks you, and then you make less mistakes, and it doesn't cost you as much money.
And again, your market, I'm going to be real with you. Everybody's broke, bro. Everybody is broke. Like I think it's like 84% of businesses are doing less than 10 rev net. And, again, you can fall into seasons of that even in larger businesses. And it's a struggle where most people are underpriced, right? Most people are super underpriced, and your market's completely irrelevant. It does not matter what your market is selling for. It matters how much value are you delivering to the customer. Again, there is quotes that we can blow clean out of the water, like triple, and still win the job. Same thing. Victor was just talking about this like a couple weeks ago, how he was like, I was time and a half or whatever he was at that church, and he's a newer contractor and still got the job because he delivered value on the front end to the proposal and to the customer and all of those things. So you don't got to worry about your market and what the next gypsy is going to charge, dude. Like, everybody does this. Like, I think if it's my biggest thing that I can stress to you out of this hour that we had is don't worry about the guy next to you. Don't worry about what your market is. Don't even go get quotes to compare them. Understand your business and your overhead and what that calls for you to go out and do that. Like, it does not matter if it's $17 a lineal foot. It's completely irrelevant. It matters, are you making money on the job? Because you're not going to lose money on the job that you don't take. I can promise you that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
No,
man.
and
I know it's
think
hard, especially now.
The way that I look at it this way is like I had a marketing job doing door to door, and I'm thinking of going back to that energy. It was very tiring, but for this, it's on my own, like for my own company. And I kind of just saw it more as that, like, even if they are already having a ceiling guy, I feel like if I just go into enough people's minds, somebody like ought to like, grab and tell me, all right, I'll help you. I'll do it. I'll get you to do the paint.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, at least for us, door to door is really, really sucking. It's really sucking. It's horrible. Like, they are just not converting. I'm talking like we're doing anywhere between 70 to 100 a week, and I'm getting 0 conversion. The phone is converting, though. The more calls we make, the more assessments we make, the more quotes we make, and the better outcomes we're getting. Like, it is ridiculous. And again, I think it comes back to, Judd loves the analogy of the marbles in the tube. You can touch 100 people in a day instead of 10 people. So your opportunity to get an assessment is significantly higher. It is so much higher. Like, so, really, again, I understand in times and seasons, like, it is great going out, shaking hands, kissing babies. But for us right now, it's been really, really, it's not working. The phones is where the money is. Like, it was literally this week's sales meeting. I was like, we're shutting down. You do not leave this office unless you're getting assessments. Ring that damn line. Like, and I promise you, it'll convert.
Dude,
Nice.
this is what we're talking about right now. Is exactly what we're talking about earlier in the conversation. If we're not going to go hunt, you're not going to get rich.
We're doing 1,000 outbound calls in 4 weeks. Like, we're crushing phones. We're just
Per person.
phone per person.
Per person. Like at AK, it's 1,000 calls that are going out a month per rep. And right now we have 6 people doing it.
And again,
That's 72,000 calls a year, right? Like, and to be clear, like today is the last day of the month. Like, I don't know, maybe some of you were called. I don't know if you were, but like we're crushing opportunities for you guys today. Like it's the last day of the month. Like you want to get on an AK dash, you want to get in on something right now. It's the 31st. By midnight tonight, it will be back to normal tomorrow. But today is one of those days that we've made probably about 600 calls within our company saying straight up, like, Matthias, we have a script. Robert Wallace, we have a script. Dylan Malone, we have a script. You guys knew exactly what that script was this morning, correct?
Making deals, baby. Let's go.
Right? And it's like, are we tactically approaching this? It's like when you're making those phone calls to book those pavement assessments and you're locking people in an office before they can actually leave until they have assessments booked in the most positive culturalistic sense. Is there a script that has been practiced and role practiced before we go and hit that thing? And if there's not, it means that you're not going to be as sharp as you could. And I can tell you that script is super easy to rock on, man. All you have to do is role practice and take your voice note down and then go to Descript and it just transcribes it right there on the spot for you. You've now got a written script. Put 3 people sitting there doing nothing other than dialing. Let them book pavement assessments. Those pavement assessments, you're going out to go do those out in the field to give those quotes and so on. And then that person that booked that appointment is a setter. Maybe you're paying them a commission when that deal closes because they'll have more interest in booking great assessments for you. Build a machine. Don't sit around waiting for national contractors to book you up. Don't wait around for Google to book you up. Don't wait for Facebook. Action, action, action. And by the way,
that's one other thing too, Judd, that he did say that he's paying his estimator a ton. You need to structure your deal different then, you know, really. You like, because again, exactly like you just said, you can lock anybody in an office, and if they're not performing, they don't need to be locked in an office. And if they're not closing deals, it doesn't matter how many estimates they're out at, they just suck and you need to move on. So if you're bleeding cash on an estimator, I think it's really attractive to an A player to go on a performance basis, right? An A player is going to want the opportunity to earn more money if they close deals. So if you say, hey, I'm going to take say you're paying them 30 an hour, and you say, I'm going to pay you 10 an hour, but I'm going to give you 5%. They're going to be like, no problem. I'm going to do this.
Don't pay them
win.
anything an hour.
Yeah. Or you go straight.
Don't pay anybody anything an hour if you're in sales. It's one of the worst things that you can do. Man, you're hungry, you want to feed your family, and you want to go work hard, and you want to make more money, then you want sky the limit. Let's go. There's people on the screen right now that work with me directly. They have to hunt every day. They have to show up, and they show up early, guys. Like, you know, they're all on the screen. You've got 3 people on the screen right now. Guys, we hunt. So do I. I hunt every day. I don't have security. I hunt. So salespeople, if they're out there and they want to really perform for you, that's one thing. But if they want to perform for themselves and for your business, then they have to be on a performance model. Because let me tell you, when you're paying someone a salary inside sales, what they're going to do is do the least amount of work that they need to do to be able to just make sure that that salary is covered with the sales that they do. And they might last 3 or 4 months and then they're gone. The performance model is crucial. And so where do you find those people? Right? When you go to Indeed and you make some job posts, if you look for people in solar sales and roofing sales, those are some good areas that you can start to tap. Think through people who are already selling roofs. Think about commercial roof sales. Think about HVAC. Think about things relating to the sales of those kind of things, irrigation. Think about those people, because if they can add a little piece of this and they're an independent sales contractor, maybe they want to be able to sell pavement as part of their offer. Man, I'm selling irrigation to this dude, but this parking lot looks like crap and there's safety and liability risks. By the way, man, I'm a sales contractor. I'm a superstar here, and this is what I'm going to help you do. You want to find people like that. How do you find them? Well, no difference than building a prospect list for customers. Build a prospect list of potential sales partners that you can build, and then start to interview those people and start role practicing out of the gate. Do not do not, for whatever you do, bring somebody inside of your organization that has all kinds of baggage that they're coming to you and they're complaining about personal shit the whole time right out of the gate. Let's get out there and be hungry together and let's build a business. Does that make sense? You have to go hunt these people too. I mean, I know for a fact that I had to get videos out there into different platforms. I believe Matthias, Robert, and Dylan, you all saw my videos on Facebook in a big group. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yep.
mine was a special Facebook group called Closers, High Ticket Closers, I found.
And it's like, I had to do the work. I had to put the videos out there. I had to make sure that I communicated effectively. I had to make that connection and then build culture for us and then help create the belief and conviction and really work towards building the relationships to the point that we're all here on the round table after hours and committed to doing this. And guys, I love you, man. Like, you guys are brothers to me and this is the way we roll. It's like, it's special, but let's draw the line in the sand and just make sure that you're not going to make any money unless you go out there and hunt and you really go after it. That's what it comes down to, right? The truth. And so that's, you know, this is the reality of it. For everyone on here right now, as business owners, you know what it's like to hunt. Find people that you can bring onto your company that are willing to hunt as well. So to wrap this up for tonight, because we're over time and I am going to go eat some dinner with my beautiful family. I cannot wait. I'm super excited. My 7-year-old and 9-year-old are sitting there waiting for me. I can see them. I really, really appreciate everyone for sharing the golden nuggets, for the time, for the dedication, for the commitment, and really for just paying this forward constantly every week. It's a really special thing to be able to do that. I don't know of any other communities that are doing this. And so it's special. Nurture it, take advantage of the opportunity that you have here every week. Take those notes down and apply it, and let's grow. For heaven's sakes, let's grow. I will close this meeting off. Thank you for tuning in to the AK Roundtable. Looking forward to seeing every single one of you and more next week. Same time, same place, right here on the AK Roundtable. Thanks, Steve.
Let's go. LFG.